Hello, everybody. This is Angela Nurse. I'm the marketing director for GaREIA. And tonight we're going to be speaking to Tish Henderson, who is also a new director on our board at GaREIA. She is our investor member director. So welcome, Tish.
Thank you, Angela. How are you?
I'm great, and it's such a pleasure to have you as our newest member on our board. Looking forward to working with you and to all the great ideas and energy that you're going to contribute.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It has been a great learning experience so far, so I look forward to meeting more members, of course, working with you and just doing some great things with the GaREIA.
Well, sounds exciting. Well, we are looking forward to you actually having a speaking engagement, a workshop that's going to be coming up shortly, following our next general meeting. But before we get into all that, I wonder if you could just share a little bit with the callers, the other listeners rather, about your background.
Well, okay, I'll make it kind of brief, even though it's a little bit longer than what I'm going to say here. I have been a real estate broker, real estate investor, as well as a Series 7 licensed financial advisor and an insurance agent. And many years ago, my kind of like my initial foray into the investor world was to purchase what I thought was 9 apartment units, a building in Augusta, and it was what I thought was a historical building, and it had 9 apartments in it, only to find out it wasn't a historical building, and it wasn't 9 apartments. It was actually 9 rooming houses. So basically, I purchased a place that had no value. It was, run down, and it was really collecting rent from transients. And basically, I did all of that without really knowing anything about real estate, without being organized, just jumping into the game without really knowing anything about what I was doing. So I was confused, disorganized, and all of that good stuff, but it didn't scare me away from the business. It just made me enhance it a little bit. But that's kind of like my background into this whole investment world.
Okay. Well, I would say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm sure you took a lot of valuable lessons from that experience, some of which possibly you'll be sharing with us over the next few weeks as we listen to you speak and come out to your events.
Yes, I will.
That was very interesting. I got to give you kudos for jumping in like that, because very often a lot of newbies get stuck in the learning, and never getting to the actual jumping in part like you actually went ahead and did. So good for you. And How long have you now been a real estate investor?
Well, I have actually gotten back into the business probably in the last year. I invest in notes now. I'm a note investor, so I don't invest in physical properties anymore. I invest in the paper. I invest as an investor myself, or I find other buyers for the physical paper. So I'm a note investor now. Okay,
great. Well, then but first of all, for me to take a moment, I want to be able to thank our president, Mike Jacobson, for giving us the opportunity to host this call, and of course the invaluable Karen Yap, our executive director, who does so much for us, including recording this call. So I thank you to both of them. So let's get to your...
And I'd like to actually thank the callers that took time out of their day or their evening to come on this call with us.
Absolutely. I agree. I second that. So let's start with the general meeting, which will be coming up in November. Our next general meeting will be, of course, it's usually the second Monday of every month. So for November, it'll be on the evening of the 9th. Doors open at 5:30, and you are going to be our featured keynote speaker.
Yes, I'm excited about that. Mm-hmm.
So please share with us what your topic is called, and share with the listeners a little bit about what you will be covering during the general meeting, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the workshop as well.
Okay, great. Well, as I mentioned, I kind of jumped into real estate over a decade ago and bought that first 9-unit apartment building, which turned out to be really a prostitute and pimp house, not really an apartment building. And so, as I mentioned, it was sort of this flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't do any research. I wasn't organized. I didn't know what to do next. I didn't know what to do first. I just purchased. I didn't know what to do next after I purchased. I didn't know how to manage or run the apartment building. And so basically I was a little over my head, or maybe a lot over my head. As a result of that, I wanted to get back into real estate, but I wanted to be a little bit more organized, because I know a lot of my colleagues in real estate, we kind of operate, at a sales mentality, getting the next home, putting it under contract, rehabbing it, and moving to the next thing. But we really don't know what the next step is. I've heard from a lot of other real estate investors, they're not sure what to do next. They're not sure what to do first. They're not sure what to do next. And they really don't know how much money they're making, if they're making any money. And so, likewise for me, I wanted to start my note investment business a little bit more organized and a little bit more with some direction, because with that, I'm more confident in all of the actions that I'm taking. So on November 9th, I'm going to introduce everyone to a system that I use called Podio. And Podio is, when set up properly, is an automation system that if you're running your business with Excel spreadsheets and you're sort of not able to even follow up with phone calls, or don't know if you've missed any phone calls, and if you have missed phone calls, you're not able to follow up with those phone calls, and every year you're zeroing out your spreadsheets just to start all over again. Using an automation system like Podio, you can really organize your business from the marketing standpoint to the project management, whether it's a rehab project or whether it's landlording, all the way to the sale of a home. So from A to Z, you have a system that keeps you on pace and on track every step of the way when set up properly. So you're not running your real estate investment business just half-cocked, so to speak.
Well, that sounds great, and we're coming up to the end of the year now. So why do you believe that it will be a great idea for our members and our listeners and other students, guests, to start off 2016 with their real estate investing business on autopilot?
Well, because one, it'll save you a lot of time. You'll work less and make more. It really is not a cliche. If you're organized, you really can achieve that. The other thing is, I have gone to a lot of meetings, deal maker meetings and other meetings where investors are asked about their property, and oftentimes they don't have complete, concise answers. They'll have to tell that other investor, they'll have to get back to them, and who knows if they are able to get back to them, but a deal not made at the kitchen table or at that point is almost a deal lost. And so if you don't have your business, set up where you're running a business instead of just trying to find wholesale properties that you could sell, because that's a one-off proposition. You're not really running a business when you're operating with a one-off proposition. Let me see if I can find a property to wholesale. Let me see if I can find another property to wholesale. How do you know that with everything that you've done, did you actually make money, and how much money did you make? And if you're running a business and it's on autopilot, you can pretty much implement the same system over and over and over again with some degree of confidence that you're going to make the sale, close the deal, whatever the case may be for your particular business. If you have it systematized, then you have a little bit more confidence going in. So for 2016, I want people to really be thinking about real estate investment as a business, not just a chance to maybe get a house under contract, and then maybe not really sure what to do next, and then maybe they made some money, and maybe they didn't, and how do I find a buyer, and do I have a buyer's list? And, the list goes on and on and on about how we're just sort of treating this real estate thing as, that one-off opportunity versus truly setting it up as a business from the beginning and moving forward with every deal to closing, knowing that you could do this thing over and over and over again, no matter where you are, which is really what real estate was meant to be, to live that lifestyle and that dream. And I believe having a system and being organized and knowing where you are every step of the way puts you closer to that dream.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm a big believer in systems myself. Because what it becomes is just rinse and repeat. You do the same thing over and over again. You fine tune it, it's working, and then you rinse it and just do the same thing all over again.
Yeah, and you have the ability.
I was just going to say, we all know that in real estate, as you mentioned, there's so many different tasks that you have to kind of control and keep your handle on. And if you're not a really organized person, that becomes difficult, and things and opportunities can wind up falling through the cracks. So I think it's very valuable what you're saying.
Yeah, so, and oftentimes, one more thing, Angela, and oftentimes, people are starting their real estate business while working another job. And it is very difficult to keep up with phone calls. It is very difficult to know who to call back when, and it's even more difficult to actually make that call. And then what do you say when you get on the call? So if you have it systematized in a platform, one platform that you use, again, that will just help you with your confidence. I know I have to call Joe back. This is what we have to talk about. This is when I said I was going to call him back. I'm calling him back then at this point. This is how much I offered for this house. Everything is in such a way that when you do ask questions of other investors, you know what to ask. You know what kind of feedback to get. And when you get that feedback, you have one single place to put it all in so you can reference it later on. It is absolutely imperative that you keep this business so organized. That's the only way you're going to have confidence moving into 2016, that you know what you're doing and you can move forward with confidence.
Yes, I'm a big believer in lists as well, and I have lists for my lists, and I tend to write everything down. And you're right, you tend to have, one little Post-it note over there. You got to remember to do this, and, something else written on some scrap paper someplace else, and it can get complex and confusing, and as I said, things do wind up falling through the cracks, and you don't even know what you don't know, what you may have missed. So
right.
I agree that having one spot that holds everything, reminders, history of conversations you've had, et cetera, it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. So tell me, how did you come up with this system? How did you go from the hit and miss and all the spreadsheets and chaos to being more streamlined and having a more efficient operation?
Well, I've had an opportunity over the years to do time studies, so finding out how much time it took to do something in the physical world versus the electronic world. I've had an opportunity to develop business logic that an engineer would put into machine logic. I've had an opportunity to really look at how businesses operate, really successful businesses, and there is not one successful, ultra successful business that does not have a system and a process that they follow. And it goes far beyond just a simple CRM, because Podio is far beyond a simple CRM. You literally can store your receipts, your offers. If you're going to make offers to sellers, you can store your offers and customize it for each one right within the Podio platform. And you can hold all of your receipts. You can manage your vendors and your contractors all within Podio, and it's very customizable. So something that I might do or might work well for my business may not work well for someone else's business, but you can customize every single field within Podio so that it flows with your business process, which brings me to another point. I think what we fail to do is know that we have a process in our business. And so for 2016, I want to challenge people to really think about their process, meaning if you're attracting sellers, what are your 2 or 3 key ways that you use to market to sellers? We should all know that. If that means you do belly-to-belly marketing, meaning you go to networking events like within the Georgia REIA, and you shake hands and kiss babies and take business cards, what do you do with those business cards? How do you get it into a system that sets you up for an immediate follow-up with someone else? You've got to have a system for that. If you are taking phone calls to your cell phone or to something else. How are you keeping track of those phone calls, and how do you know when to follow up with a particular person and about what you should be following up with that particular person? If you've made 200 offers to 200 different sellers, how do you follow up with those offers to make sure, one, they get out? You actually physically mail the offers out. And I'm going to show people how they can physically mail out a paper offer, but do it all systematized through Podio. So not a email offer, a physical offer that gets mailed to their home. I'm going to show you how you automate that within Podio and some other integration tools. So it won't be an excuse anymore that, oh, you didn't have time to mail that offer out. It's seamless if you follow a few simple steps. So knowing how to do that and set that up in a platform, and once you do it one time, it's pretty much set, and you just continue to follow it over and over again.
Is it difficult? I mean, this is a software platform, correct? So some people that aren't that tech savvy, how do you feel that they would do with this Podio? Is it fairly user friendly, or I know obviously you'll be teaching that during the class, but can you give me a feel for what it's like?
It's user friendly, it's user friendly, but because it's so robust, you will find yourself enjoying so many of the bells and whistles that you likely would not get anything done in the right way. However, let me say this. The reason that it can be cumbersome or a problem is because first I teach people how to identify their workflow first. You've got to identify your workflow. So as I was saying before, you've got to know how you bring in leads in the first place. Are you someone that mails out 200 yellow letters to people for wholesale opportunities? Are you someone that strictly does belly-to-belly marketing and you make it your business to go to every networking event and make sure you meet at least 3 to 5 people that would be of benefit to you and you would be of benefit to them? Are you someone that buys a list and mails out postcards? What is the one way or the 2 to 3 ways that you have determined will be a successful way for you to first attract the leads? Then once you attract the lead, what do you do with them? Do you have a consistent way for making sure that those leads will call you and say, hey, I need your help? And then when they do call you, what do you do next? And so I get everybody to kind of identify those steps. And then once you identify those steps, I show you how to put it into Podio. Although I've already built out all of the platforms, and those folks who join us on the November 14th workshop will get those platforms installed for them so they could use the ones I've already built out.
Oh, wonderful. Well, that right there is a bonus.
Exactly.
That makes it easier if you get a template and it's already been done for you. So then you can just start populating your own information, et cetera, and going from there.
It's all actually populated based on best practices for the real estate investment industry. So really all anyone would have to do is kind of tweak it just to their liking. But basically, a lot of the things that folks do in the real estate investment industry for attracting sellers and buyers are fairly similar. So they would just have to tweak it for their own liking. But 80 to 85% of the work has already been done.
Oh, that is awesome, because those two things, attracting sellers and buyers, those are the two things that are difficult for most people, especially novices, to get a handle around, or even to get the courage to go out and do. So if it already comes pre-populated, then that skips a huge step and to get people off on the right foot by the sounds of it. So excellent.
Well,
okay,
the buyers and sellers will not be pre-populated. The system for attracting and moving them through that system, yes, is already pre-populated.
Okay, good. Will you offer some ideas of where people can actually find leads as well?
Actually, I will, and if at the November 14th workshop, the one-day workshop, those who attend that one will get actually 200 free customized leads, so that if you're a newbie and you don't have any leads at all, great, I'm giving you 200 customized leads. If you're someone that's been in the business for a while but your leads have dried up and you want to really get it cranking again for 2016, great. You're going to get 200 free customized leads as well.
Excellent. Okay, so they come to the general meeting on the 9th, and
Yes.
They sign up for the workshop and come to the workshop, and they get the 200 free leads. That's how it will work?
Yes. So you come to the November 9th general meeting, and I'm going to go into a little bit more of a demonstration about Podio so you can see exactly what I'm explaining to you over the phone. It's easier to see in real life. So I'll do a little demonstration of Podio. And for those who want to sign up for the November 14th one-day workshop, we're going to start at probably 9 o'clock and end at 4, and we'll take a few questions after that for anyone who has questions. But during the workshop, you will, if you sign up for the workshop, you'll be entitled to the 200 exclusive leads, plus you'll get the 10 already built out for you Podio apps. It's referred to as apps. Those apps are your marketing apps, your project management. So if you're doing rehabs, I've got a rehab app in there that shows you how to manage that project from the beginning to end, how to get your receipts and collect your documents. If you're sending information out to seller leads, I show you how to do that as well. These apps are already built for you, so you'll get those apps as well on the November 14th one-day workshop. And I will show you how to use Podio, so if you want to customize it further, once you get the apps, you know what to do when you get into Podio, so you can do your own thing.
Okay, great. Well, this sounds good, and it doesn't sound like anything that we've had before at GaREIA, so I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about it myself. So we'll kind of get an overview at the general meeting, and then you'll dig in more at the one-day workshop, rather. So excellent. Anything else that you want to add? Do we have a price point set yet for the workshop?
The workshop for November 14th is $197. I think there's some early bird pricing, so you have to go to the website to look for the early bird pricing. And remember, with that $197, you do get those 200 free leads as well as the Podio setups, and you get an explanation of how to use Podio so that you can automate it. For instance, an example of an automation would be something like, once a seller lead comes in, it will trigger. It says, seller lead came in. Once that happens, this happens. And it pushes that forward to you so that you know, a lead has come in. Now it's time for you to either follow up with that lead or send that lead an offer. So those trigger points are built in, and it moves you through the process of closing that deal, and it does it automatically on automation. So every single time a lead comes in, it is already preset with automation strategies on what needs to be done next. And so all you have to do is do them. And it tells you, do this in 1 day, do this in 3 days, or however you want to organize it. It basically gives you those instructions. After a trigger is set, it moves you all the way in through the closing process.
Okay. That sounds great. That sounds really great. So we can look forward to seeing an overview. You'll kind of walk through the platform itself at the general meeting, and then everybody can kind of get a feel for what it is. And then if they want to learn how to use it, obviously get those 200 free leads and set up their own processes. They can do that at the workshop with your help. Exactly, yes. Okay, well, perfect. All right, well, I think it's time to open up the line for questions. Karen, are you there? Hi, everybody. Does anyone have a question for Tish that they'd like to share?
Hi, this is Twyla. I have a question. Actually, I have an event to go to on November 14th. Will there be another one-day workshop? Or if I can't make the one-day workshop, is there any way to get the information?
I don't have another one-day workshop scheduled, but I would like to do this, at least once a year with the GaREIA. I don't know if we're going to do this by videotape and have it accessed at a later time. I'm not sure what the particular... I'd like that. I would definitely would like to have it recorded if possible. We'll work on that part, and if it is available, then that will
you'll be notified via constant contact, our distribution of our information, our 7-day workshop, our 7-day forecast rather, so that you'll know about it.
Okay. So I don't have unfortunately, Twyla, I don't have a concrete answer for you, but I think we're going to work on having something available afterwards.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, once we see what the participation is like, if we're overwhelmed and we not oversell it, but sell it out rather, then more than likely we would have another event before even a year is up.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think this timing is perfect because we are getting close to 2016, so people can get themselves all set up to have a successful new year.
And the other thing about it I didn't mention, but I'll say it quickly, a lot of real estate investors are embracing Podio. So if you're a real estate investor or a real estate agent and you start using Podio, you're using the platform of choice by other real estate investors. So it's going to be so much easier to communicate and do things with others who are using the same platform. So that's another point I wanted to make.
Okay, that's important. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, Steve. So is the cost of the program $197 as well? I mean, absent of workshop or anything, is the actual portfolio program $197, $199, or something like that as well?
Are you asking if there's something else additional after the $197? Repeat your question, please.
No. I'm just saying is the cost of that program itself, absent of going to any workshop or anything like that you can acquire. Can you buy it or just purchase it, or?
Is it a subscription, or how does it work?
Okay. No, it's not a subscription. And in fact, Podio is a free platform, believe it or not. I have the paid platform because it's a little bit more robust, but it's a free platform, and with the 10 apps that I'm providing, you can use those 10 apps in the free platform. Is that what you were asking?
Got it. Yeah, I was curious about it because I wasn't familiar with it. Okay. The free platform, actually. But you have other things that you can add to it, and that's what you're basically bringing to the table.
Well, no, I'm just going to strictly talk about Podio, but I'm going to let you know about other integrations. But I'm strictly going to talk about Podio because Podio is so robust by itself that if I added anything else in a beginner's workshop, it would be overwhelming. And so I might do like an advanced workshop maybe. But for this one, it's all about Podio. And if you have the free Podio platform, then you'll be just fine. And the thing about it is, if you come to the workshop, when you come to the November 9th meeting, I'm going to provide everyone with a link to my site where you can actually fill out the form that will give you, that will ask you the questions about what types of leads you're looking for. And then I'm actually going to be using Podio to demonstrate how I collect information in that way. But you'll be able to give me that information once you come to the workshop. We install the app, and I show you how to use those leads with that. So, yeah, but it's a free platform, so.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Next question. Anyone? All right, well, then I think that we have covered everything. Is there anything that you'd like to add, Tish?
No, I just welcome everybody. We want to definitely see you out at the Georgia REIA, and of course, I want to see you out at the November 9th meeting. And again, this is an opportunity for you to really set the foundation for your real estate investment business going into 2016 and setting it up as a business with some automation strategies and building in a process that you can rely on. So hopefully we'll see everybody out there. I'd love to teach them and educate them about Podio and hopefully do some business together too.
Oh, that sounds great. Well, November 9th is our general meeting. Doors open at 5:30. The one-day workshop will be the Saturday immediately following the general meeting, and it will start at 9 o'clock, run till 4, with some time afterwards for any additional questions that you all may have. If you want additional details, just visit our website, georgiareia.org. That's GaREIA.org, and you'll get all your information there. So I want to thank once again all of our callers for calling in and listening in on this call. Thank you again to Mike Jacobson, our president, and Karen Yap, as always. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.